Hello everyone, and welcome back. In this part, we will begin rigging the face. I don't know how many parts this is going to be, but we got a bit to do. So, without further ado, let's get started. So we're actually going to hide the main rig and hide these lights, because they're in the way. Next, we're going to Shift S, curse the world origin, Shift A, make a sphere. Now the reason we're doing this again is because we want to add some shape keys and parent it properly so that it follows the rig, and then we can set up some controls for it. So let's go here, RX 90 degrees, and let's delete this middle point, and let's actually delete these as well, and then scale these down. Alright, and bring them out. You want to put an edge loop here, bring it out, scale it up. Want to put another edge loop here, bring it out, scale it down. Now you want this to match up better, so edge slide, and edge slide, and then we can edge slide this back as well. There we go. Alright. So for these parts for the corner, we want to bring it in. Make sure you have proportional editing turned on. Then you want to grab these center parts and move them out slightly. And then you want to extrude that in, extrude it in again, S to scale, turn that off. On the Z axis, scale it in on the X axis. On the Y axis, actually scale it. So once you scale it up on the Z, bring it forward, scale it on the Y axis 0 to flatten it, extrude it again on the Y, Control F, grid fill. Change the offset, that's cool. Alright. Now, we can bring this back. Shift D to duplicate it, S to scale, bring it out, Control Z that. Make sure you have this turned off when you Shift D, GY, S to scale, E to extrude, Control L, smooth it out with Alt Q, or, you know, if you're boring, smooth vertices. Now, you want to SX, scale it on the X axis, select this middle point, bring it forward, turn on proportional editing. Control R. Add an edge loop there. Select these faces in the back. S to scale. Bring it down. Control R. Bring that forward. We're basically going to separate these two. Then select that top one. Bring it down. There we go. And then lastly, we'll get, I want these vertices up here, and I want these down here. Seems like we got one more selected on the bottom than the top. There we go. Shift D to duplicate. S to scale it on the Z axis. Extrude it. Right click. Turn off proportional editing. S to Z. Scale it on the Z axis. So it seems that we actually had the right number on the left side and the wrong number on the right side. So let's redo that. Shift D to duplicate. S to Z. E to extrude. S to Z. Boom. Control L to select them both. SY. Flatten it. Bring it forward. Hit 2, go to edge select, select these edge loops here with Alt and right click, G, Y. Make sure Alt proportional editing is turned on, G, Y, move these forward to curve them.
What we do here is go back.
Like so. And there we go. Add an edge loop in here. All right. So. Now what we do is we make some shape keys. So so what you want to do is you want to go over here to your data here. You want to go to shape keys, click plus, this is your basis. Click plus again, this is your new shape key. Okay, we're going to call this mouth open. We're just going to call this mouth open for now. You can get super in depth with the number of shape keys you want. We're not going to do a whole bunch of that, but you do want a few of them in here. So now, and I'll walk you through what you need. So you want mouth open. So this will be with his mouth all the way open. Make sure you have X-axis mirror turned on. And open his mouth, try to get it as open as you can. Try to exaggerate, because he is a cartoon character essentially. I mean, he's modeled after Mickey Mouse, who's a cartoon character, so that's why we're going with the 2D design. I really like the way he looks in certain 2D mediums. Okay. forget that when you smile, you kind of go back like this. Okay, and then select the teeth, and you basically just want to bring them down and match where they are or where they'd be based off of this shape key. Same thing with the top teeth. You can scale them up even if you feel like you need to. And just bring these up, rotate them, maybe scale them along the line, bring them back. And then for the tongue, of course, you know, he can just go down. Probably put that inward like that. Okay. So that's our first shape key. So and you change the value. You could turn the shape key on and off when you go back into object mode. You see, if you first thing is you have to have it selected. If you have basis selected and you hit tab, you won't be able to edit your shape key. Make sure you have your shape key selected. Second, if you want to see what your shape key looks like turned on, you just go to the value down here and click and drag. Now, what we want to do is give this the proper shading. If we go to shading, and let's unhide everything. So we need to give our mouth here the same material as Sonic here. So what we need to do is we can open this, go to basis, and really we just want to hit U, unwrap, smart UV project, boom. Let's go to UV editing. We have our sphere here. Let's make sure we're still in shaded. Now what we want to do is we want to go to the material, add the Sonic skin material, and we're going to come in here and we're going to select this, Control E, mark seam. When we hit 3, I'm going to select all of these with L. I don't know if screencast keys tends to cut off if you switch between views for some reason, so sorry about that. Next, you in the UV editor here, with everything that's related to this selection selected, you scale this down, you move it over, and you want to be in rendered. So there you go. Now you want to select the teeth, select everything affiliated with the teeth, move them over to a spot with white, like so. We'll worry about the tongue. Nah, we'll just move it to a red spot for now. So select the tongue, and we can probably group these together. Alright, and we can just put that there. Let's go to layout. Let's go to rendered. There we go. Now, what we want to do is we want to Shift A make a, well, before we do that though, this should be fine. We're going to scale this down and move it to match the relative position of our original mouth. Okay, like so. About there is fine. Let me scale it up a bit more. Okay. Next thing we want to do is our X, and we want to rotate this so that the mouth is about right there. Next, you want to hit Control A, apply the rotation and the scale. You don't want to apply the location. I could probably scale this down a little bit more, actually. Okay, then apply the scale. Okay. Screencast keys cut themselves off again. Sorry about that. Now, we can actually hide this. Now, what we want to do is make another cage. And we want to Shift S, cursor to selected. Shift S, selection to cursor. And we want to rotate this. Actually, we can tab and rotate this on the X-axis about that much. Tab back in. W, actually, go to your object. Go to texture and change it to wire. Scale it down. Way down. Actually, scale it so that it's almost touching. But not quite. Then you grab this, and we'll specify what this is. This is the mouth cage. Next, you want to select your mouth. Go to Add Modifier. Go to Mesh Deform. You want to type in mouth cage. And just for naming, we can actually name this mouth. Okay. So, with that, you want to click dynamic, find it. Alright. Now, you tab into edit mode on your cage. Select a vertice. And we start editing this. So we have a error here, so you want to probably just delete this and do that again. As far as the mesh cage, again, make sure that when you create the cage that you have as much room between the cage and the mesh as possible, but you also want to have you also want to have it close enough so that when you edit it, you know, the edits are more apparent. So we'll call this the cage.
What we do here is go back.
And we'll bind it again. And what we'll do this time with the cage here, we'll actually add a shape key to the cage itself. We'll call this shape. And the only reason we're doing this is just in case we have any errors again, which it doesn't seem like it. But in case we have any mess ups, you know, we can always go back to our basis shape. So make sure you're editing the mouth shape and make sure that it's turned up in the view.
What we do here is go back, 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 back.
Alright guys, so now we're done as far as the placement of the mouth is concerned. Now all we have to do is parent this mouth, the mouth to the rig. So what we do is firstly we parent the mouth here to the cage. So Control P, Control P, keep transform. So now this moves that. So we're going to Shift A, empty sphere, scale it down to about here, and we want to add a constraint from this sphere to our mouth. So what we want to do is select our empty, shift select our mouth, Control Shift C. Oops, that only works in the bone thing. You want to add a object constraint, and you want to add a copy rotation constraint, and you want to add it to the empty. So now wherever the empty moves, the mouth moves, and you don't have to mess with the mouth rotation at all. Alright guys, so this is future Ure, future Magus, and I am editing the shape keys in a new manner. Basically, the original mouth shapes I made were too exaggerated and made Sonic look weird, so I wanted to show you how to do it properly. So this is what we're doing right now. The part's going to come up where we're going to mirror a shape key, and to properly mirror a shape key, you want to set it to a value of 1, and then click on the drop down arrow and click new shape from mix. After that, click on the same drop down arrow and click mirror shape key. Rename the shape key by copying the first key and pasting it to the new one and adjusting it for the sided effects. And basically that's going to be your workflow for making all the shape keys. So this section is really just a time lapse of me making the shape keys. I showed you how to make the one shape key, and I just gave you an explanation for how to mirror it. That's really all we're going to be doing, or that is all we're going to be doing to create the rest of these shape keys. So enjoy. Feel free to make the shape keys however you want to. This part of the tutorial is strictly about making the shape keys. There will come to a point where I properly parent the mouth to the rig after we made the empty. So that'll come up after we're finished with the new shape keys. So I'll see you guys then. So at this part of the video, I decided to make some shape keys for the face, like the, his eyebrows and whatnot. So off camera, while I was playing around with the model, I made a couple of eyebrow down shape keys to begin with. And I just kind of went from there. I just made some more, and making the shape keys for the eyebrows is no different than making the shape keys on the mouth. I just wanted to be able to express him a bit more before the next tutorial, where we make the controls for the shape keys, so we can actually control him without going to the shape key slider every time. Alright, so this is the part where we start parenting the empty to the rest of the rig so that everything moves properly. I tried some things initially that didn't work, like parenting the empty to the head bone directly, but because the head bone's axes were off, I came up with a different solution. So what you want to do is you create a new bone that will control the empty specifically. You create that bone and you want to center it to the empty center position, and you also want to rotate the axes so that the axes are in the same rotation as the axes of the empty. Once you've done that, you want to parent the empty bone to the head bone, and once you've got that down, you want to parent the empty to the rig. Instead of doing automatic weights, you would do bone, and in your parent settings, or in your relationship settings, in your object data tab for the empty, make sure that the bone parent is set to the bone that you created to control the empty. Once you do that, for the bone itself, turn off inherent rotation, and that'll enable you to rotate everything properly. So now you don't have to select the empty follows the head, and you get proper rotation in the mouth without any confusion. So that's pretty much it for all the all the complicated parts of this section of the tutorial. In the next part, we're going to go ahead and make the control shapes for the shape keys so that we have even more control over the rig, and that'll essentially be the end of the tutorial. I might do some, I'm going to do some basic animation, but I'm setting up something extravagant for more extravagant animations that we're going to be making with Sonic, so I'll keep you guys posted. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.
What we do here is go back, 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 back.